In 1789 in France, people got united and they did a revolution which led to many changes. So that's why it was the first ever clear expression of nationalism ever seen in the world's history. Now before moving ahead, I would request you to go and watch the previous video because it would help you to understand the whole chapter in a smooth way, right? So please do watch it. Now in this video basically we will discuss that what all changes took place in France which created a sense of collective belonging among the French people, right? So now without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, in the previous video we saw that in 1789 France was being ruled by an absolute monarch, right? King Louis XVI. But after the revolution, the sovereignty, and sovereignty means, right, it's a power to run and control the country. So the sovereignty got transferred from the monarch to the body of citizens, right? So there were some political and constitutional changes which took place, and that's what we're gonna discuss here. So let's begin with our first point. Okay, so the ideas of la patrie and les citoyens were introduced. Now what are these, right? So la patrie means the fatherland. So let's try to relate it with India, right? So in India we say Bharat Mata ki Jai, right? Or it means that India is our motherland. So similarly they had the idea of that France is our father, right? France is our fatherland, right? So I hope that you can relate it. After that it was les citoyens, it means the citizen. The citizen, it simply means that France is our father and we all are citizen of this land, right? So for a parent all the children are equal, right? So similarly they said that France is a father and we all are citizens of this France, and for this everyone should be treated equally, right? So these ideas were introduced. After this, a new tricolor flag was chosen to replace the former royal standard flag, right? Tricolor means the flag with three colors, right? So instead of that royal flag, a new French flag was introduced. Okay, now moving ahead. So new hymns were composed, oaths were taken and martyrs were commemorated. Okay, so what does this mean, right? So basically, you know, when it was 26th January or 15th of August and when there's a flag hosting and our national anthem is going on, don't you feel that patriotic feeling within you, right? Yeah, it is momentary, but even for that moment you feel that, right? I belong to this land, right? So similarly that song can do this, right? Music or song can create that feeling within you, or feeling of nationalism, right? So basically they created new hymns, right, which would inspire the people. So new hymns were composed, oaths were taken. In India we generally take a pledge: India is my country, all Indians are my brothers and sisters, I love my country, right? So this also, right, creates the idea of nationalism. And after this, martyrs were commemorated. What does this mean? Martyrs simply means that the people who have sacrificed their life for the sake of nation, right? In Hindi it simply means shaheed. Okay, so what they did, right, they started telling the stories, the brave stories of these people, right, of their bravery, of their courage, just to inspire the people, right? We in India, we listen to the stories of Bhagat Singh, Mahatma Gandhi, Jhansi Ki Rani, Jawaharlal Nehru, and the list goes on and on. But it basically to inspire and to create that feeling, that I wanted to serve my country, right? I belong to this country, I belong to India, right? So all these things were done. If you remember, in the previous video I talked about state general meeting, right, in which all the three states would come together and they will have a meeting. So now onwards what happened is that those state generals or the members of that meeting would now be elected by a body of active citizens, right? So from now onwards the members would be elected by a body of active citizens. And one more thing, right? So the word state, right, it's simply indicating the division of society, right? So they said, we don't want division, right? So we want to get rid of this name. So what they did, they replaced the name of State General with National Assembly, right? So the State General meeting got a new name, which is National Assembly. I hope that this is very clear to all of you. Okay, next, a centralized administrative system was put in place. It means that at the center level we would have an administrative system. It means that, right, it includes all the tasks of managing things, right? We have financial management, transportation, communication and all these things, right? So at the center level we would have a system which would be applied throughout the country, right? And this system would formulate all the equal laws or the uniform laws for every citizen of the country. Okay, so if I were to give a simple example of this, so in India we have that all the cars should run on the left side of the road, right? So let's imagine, right, if it were to that everyone decide that I want to ride my cycle on right side, on the next day I want to ride my car on the left side, right? Imagine the result, right? Every day we're gonna have a number of accidents, right? So we can take this as one of the administrative system, right? And this would be applied throughout the country, right? And this system would formulate equal or uniform laws for each and every citizen of the country. Okay, so moving ahead, we have that all the internal custom duties were abolished. Okay, so now let's focus on the words here. So we have internal. Now internal means that within the country. Now we have custom duties. So it is a tax which is imposed on the goods which are being transported, right? So it means that if I have to transport any good within my country, so now I don't have to pay any tax because this is abolished now, right? So I hope that this is clear. And one more interesting thing, right? So uniform system of weights and measurements were introduced. It means that now it's pretty fascinating that it so used to happen that let's say we have three regions A, B and C. Now in region A 1 kg equals to 500 grams, here it is 700 grams and in the third one it is 200 grams. Now let's say I have a bundle of books. In region A it weighs it's 1 kg, in the next one it's 2 kg and in next one it's 3 kgs, right? So it would create a lot of chaos if I were to do trade between the different regions, right? So that is why a uniform system of weights as well as measurements were introduced. Measurements means if I have to measure anything like meters, kilometers and centimeters, and weights means kg and grams and all that, right? Hope that this is also very clear to all of you. Now one more last thing is left here. So in this, French became a new common language of the whole nation, right? So French became a common language of the nation, right? And remember this, that French was written and mainly spoken in Paris, right? What's the capital of France? Paris. Okay, and with this the regional dialects were removed, right? The regional languages, the languages which were spoken in different regions, so they were removed and they said let's have one common language, French. Okay, so with this all the points are completed and I hope that all of you have understood everything. If you really did, then don't forget to hit the like button and please do subscribe to my channel for such more informative videos. Thank you very much for watching, and here is a quick summary of what we have learned in this video.